Good evening, people in India and maybe other countries as well. Welcome to Erasmus University. Today we are going to do a webinar and that will be focused on our master's programs at our university. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon here, and where you are, it's 8:30. I understand in India, but in other countries, I don't know. But very welcome. We will first do a quick introduction round. I'm happy to be here with 4 of our students. We will introduce ourselves. Then I will give a little presentation about our master programs. And after that, you can ask your questions. But don't hesitate, you can also ask your questions online through the system. One of our students is either responding immediately online, or he will share the questions with the other students available here, and they will try to answer your questions. My name is Sandra Nijhoff. I work at Erasmus University in Marketing and Communication. I have a special responsibility for India, so I try to coordinate our activities in India, and that is quite a lot. I like our students to introduce themselves to you. I will make place for Nehal to sit here, and I'll come back to you in a minute with the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Ayan Joshi. I'm 18 years old from India, and well, I've been traveling since I was 10 years old. I spent about 8 years of my life in 7 years of my life in Malaysia, and then I moved to Netherlands in 2017 to pursue the International Business Administration degree at Rotterdam School of Management. I've been here for about 1.5 years, and I've learned a lot. This is a very special place, and I'll be happy to help you in any way.
Hi everybody, I'm Kavana Desai. I come from Bangalore, born and brought up, and then I moved away from my hometown to go do my bachelor's at Manipal University in journalism and communications. And after that, I came to Erasmus University to do my master's in sociology of arts and culture studies. So it is as interesting as it sounds. And now I'm working at online expat magazine. So I have been covering a lot of news about things which are really interesting to people who live in the Netherlands as foreign nationals. So I have a lot of insight in that. So any questions you have, I will be happy to answer them for you.
Hi, my name is Mansi Nikam. I'm from Pune, India. I have a bachelor's degree in BSc in economics, after which I worked for 2 years in another city called Bangalore in a public policy think tank. I am now enrolled in MA in Development Studies, and I'll be majoring in Social Policy for Development. I'm in term 2 of my course, and apart from academics, I also write for the blog, and I'm happy to answer your questions today.
Hi everyone, my name is Nehal, and I was born in Udaipur, so as you might know, the city of lakes. But I also lived most of my life in Gurgaon, near Delhi, and also in Switzerland, until I decided to come to Netherlands. So I'm doing international business administration. My bachelor's in IBA, and I'm in my last year. So you can ask me any questions related to jobs or masters in arts and in general.
Okay. So we swap. Let's go to our presentation. I hope you all have a good view. You can see the text on your screen. What are we going to cover in this webinar? I will tell a bit about Erasmus University. We are going to talk about our master programs. We do, of course, bachelor programs also a lot, but today we focus on the masters. I will share a bit about the requirements and the costs. Then we also will mention let's say the prospect after graduation, your career, the career part. I will say something about Rotterdam as a city. That's the city where the Erasmus University is located, mostly. And Q&A, but it's not the last bit. Ask your questions already now. I think you are invited also online already to do it. Nehal is waiting for you and ready to share your questions with the whole team here. All right. Erasmus University is located in the Netherlands. Why go Dutch? Dutch means in the Netherlands. We have a long tradition of high quality education in this country. You can find us in all kinds of rankings. All Dutch research universities are normally in the top 100 or universities of the world. We are relatively cheap. The fees are, it's also what we hear from our students, compared to other countries with high quality education, the tuition fees are very reasonable here. And I think the Netherlands, but our students can say a lot more about that. I think we are a pretty accessible country. Normally people speak English. We have many programs in English here, full programs, so there is no need to talk Dutch or to learn Dutch before coming here. So that is, I think, one of the big things. Erasmus University. On your screen you will find a picture of the campus, a nice photo with nice weather, which is not always the case here, but we can't complain. Erasmus University is, most of the schools of Erasmus University are located on campus. What you see here, it's a mix of buildings of, let's say, the 70s with new modern buildings. A lot of attention is there for study places for students. There is some student housing on the campus, and many places with shops, restaurants, etc. So yeah, that's our main campus. Two of our schools are outside the campus, and the first one is Erasmus Medical School, Erasmus MC. It's located in Rotterdam, I think 10 minutes by bike. We always say by bike because that's the main way of transport in the Netherlands, certainly for students. Erasmus Medical Center is 10 minutes away from campus, and then there is one faculty called International Institute of Social Studies. We have one student, Manassi, is from that school, and that is located in The Hague, which is about 15 minutes by train from Rotterdam. Right, go to the next slide. Erasmus University is a research university. It's one of the 9 research universities in the Netherlands. It has a huge global reputation. It was founded as an economic school, and you will also today you will find an economic background, a business background in much of what the university is doing. Also, if you do study philosophy or psychology, there's always the element of economics that comes with it. You can say there is a very, very entrepreneurial atmosphere. A lot of activities are going on, so it's very dynamic. At the moment, there are about 30,000 students at Erasmus University, and about 20% of them is from other countries. So you can say it's pretty international students. It's maybe something to elaborate upon later. What we offer, I already said, we do have bachelor programs, master programs, and a PhD fully in English. In the next slide, you can we mention a bit. This is about rankings. Rankings do not say everything about a university. It's also there is much more than what can be covered by rankings. But we are happy we do very well in the rankings, in the main global rankings. We are mostly in top 100, and we also mentioned that the business school is in particular the #1 in the Netherlands. So yeah, I think that is something you can look if you want. I can imagine that if you have chosen a specific program, you can find more about rankings for that program on the website, of course. Then you find an overview of our more than 50 master programs that are fully in English. As I said, there's no need to speak Dutch or learn Dutch or read Dutch. This is all the teaching and all the classwork is done in English. You will find an overview. I'm not going to read it aloud, everything what you see here. It gives an overview of the areas we cover. We are a broad university, but we don't offer science programs, technology, engineering, and math. So the so-called STEM programs are not part of our university. So I give you a few seconds to look at it, and of course you can find this slide again because it is in the system. All right, so we have over 50 programs in English. They are generally one-year programs. Some take 2 years, some are in between. And that is something that varies, so you can look it up. Our 2-year programs usually are preparing you for PhD possibilities. Let's go to the next slide where we say something about scholarship possibilities for Indian students. What we have done, we have listed a couple of them. Some of them are for the whole universities. Others apply for students from specific programs. So in general, it goes too far to explain all of that here. I think it's worth checking the possibilities because there are quite a few. Some of the scholarships are covering all the costs of your study. Others give you a discount on the tuition fee or something like that. And then the percentage of discount can also vary per scholarship. But this is something you will find on our website, and they are mainly linked to the program that you are interested in. The requirements. Of course, we ask you to have, in general, to have a bachelor's degree. A motivation statement is very important. Most of our programs require a TOEFL score. And I say most because also here, I have to repeat it, but it differs per program. And it does also say there may be additional criteria, but you can find that on the website. Sometimes a pre-master is possible. It depends on what kind of background you have. Then let's quickly go to start your career. When you graduate from Erasmus University, you belong to a global network of more than 100,000 professionals. It's a strong network, and we have a specific platform where our alumni are connected. There is a possibility, you can find it about an orientation year, which is a specific service of the Dutch government. If you graduate in the Netherlands, you are allowed to stay for a year after graduation. But it's also possible that you take that year a bit later. So you graduate, you go home for a year, you can come back as long as it is within a period of 3 years. So you have 1 year to try to find a job in the Netherlands. So that is a stay back option that is very specific for the Netherlands. We are very happy with that because it gives a lot of international students the possibility to try and stay a bit longer here. The Erasmus University is happy to have a strong salary and placement performance. We also do a lot on campus to help you and preparing you for labor markets, if it is for internships or jobs. There is quite some help and support, and there are quite some activities related to this when you are studying here. Yeah, you find the scores in the rankings. If it comes to employability, Erasmus University has a high score if it comes to employability of its graduates, and we are proud of that. So, a picture of Rotterdam. Rotterdam is the second capital in the Netherlands after Amsterdam, the second in size. It's a big city with a strong port orientation. Rotterdam has one of the biggest ports in the world, and you find that a lot of activities are related to that. There is very much a hands-on mentality. I think you recognize that also in the university. It's a kind of no-nonsense environment, and work hard is the idea, and that's also something you can find in the university. Rotterdam has a lot of new buildings, a very interesting architecture. You can see a little bit of that on this picture, but it's famous for that. Also, people come to Rotterdam to specifically look at the architecture. So, what can you find on campus? I already mentioned something. What is important? Study areas. We do have a brand new library where hundreds of students, if not thousands, can sit and study. That is, the emphasis is very much on good study places where you can study for yourself or in small groups, and also with the facilities you need, if you're doing that, to have a good cup of coffee or tea or whatever you like. So there is a food court, there is a restaurant, there is a big sports center where students can sport all kinds of things you want to do, a theater, print shop, the supermarkets, those kind of things that you can find at grown-up campus. The campus is not exactly in the center of Rotterdam, but it will take you approximately 15 minutes by bike, and not sure if you can confirm that, but to come to the city center. So it's relatively nearby. Housing. In the Netherlands, there is not a culture of that the universities provide housing for their students. It's the students' own responsibility. Having said that, we do have limited capacity for international students on campus. What you see, that building is called the Hatta building. At least one of the students here was in that building. That can be used for your first year. But as I said, it's very limited, so most students are looking for other options. And most of the people live in the area 5 to 15 minutes from university. Shared rooms, studios, private apartments. If you have any questions about this, I'm sure there is a lot to share on this. We always advise applicants, please be in time. Yeah? The sooner you start looking for housing, the better. But I know someone at this table who did it last minute, and he managed, which is the good news. In short, Erasmus University Rotterdam is one of the top universities, very much internationally oriented. Rotterdam is a modern city. The campus is vibrant, dynamic. A lot is going on. We have 13 bachelor's programs fully English, and more than 50, and even that number is growing every year. We offer research masters, and there are PhD opportunities, although we do not focus on that here. Make it happen is the slogan not only of Erasmus University, but of the whole city of The Hague, and also of the port of Rotterdam. I would like to invite you to ask your questions if you haven't done so, but I see something going on here, so I guess that we already have something to discuss. If you are not yet in the Facebook group, we have, especially for prospective students from India, please join us there. It's called Erasmus University Rotterdam, Prospective Students from India. It's a wonderful place. It's a group, so not a page. It's a place where you can meet current students, ask your questions to the Erasmus University staff or the current students, and then you can find out more specifically about what you want to know. Of course, you can download the brochures and that you can find on the website. And if you want to see more pictures, you have kind of feeling of how campus life looks like. We have what we call the Erasmus experience, and you find the email address or the website address on your screen. So I think let's leave it to this for now, and I'm happy to hear your questions, and maybe Nehal can update us a bit on questions so far.
So maybe you guys can help tell them about your housing experience, like what is the estimate budget and how was it to find the house when you entered in Erasmus in general?
To find a house is, I would put it in the difficult category because, especially compared to India, I guess in India, most universities at least, provide something on campus and they give it to each and every student, like you have hostels, but that doesn't apply to universities here. Especially Erasmus University, they don't provide anything as such, you have to ask for it. So say you get in, at least for my course, I know that you know for sure that you're in by April. And if you haven't started looking by the end of May, there's no chance you're going to find anything on campus at all. Like at least for the last 5 years, it's been like that. So if you really want to live on campus, and the advantages are that your first year, you have a lot of mandatory things here and there. So those are the advantages, that you get to attend these lectures and you wake up 5 minutes before class, no problem, you can go. And you're going to be close to like a lot of other people, because if you stay on campus, there'll be a lot of people doing business, there'll be people doing economics, psychology, social studies. So you'll meet all these people, and they also have the craziest parties. So that's also always a big advantage. Then if you start, maybe if you're a little lazy, then you can maybe start looking early June to late June. That's a phase where you can find a lot of stuff outside campus, immediately outside, as in 5 to 10 minutes. And those are the options where you'll get to explore the city a little more, because there's a very beautiful lake near campus, and that's like the main area where most of the students stay. It's called Kralingen, and around that is also a few supermarkets. It's about 10 minutes away from the city central, where all the good shopping areas are, and all the trains to Amsterdam leave from there. And then if you are really in big trouble and by beginning of August, you haven't found anything, you'll be put in a group with your course, with the students who are doing the same course as you. You can maybe type, that's how I got the place, because I didn't have anything at the beginning of August. And I just posted to find out if someone was in a similar situation. And then I found my housemates. So it's difficult, but if you start looking early, you can find exactly what you want.
Yeah, and it's also like important to pick the kind of neighborhood you want to stay in. Like if you don't want to stay on campus, like I stay in this neighborhood called Blijdorp, and in Blijdorp is more working professionals staying there, so there are not a lot of students, and I prefer that because it's a lot more quieter, and there are not parties happening in my house every other day, and I really can't live with people like that. So it depends on what kind of place you want to stay in and what kind of neighborhood. So if you're looking to stay in the city center, then you will have a lot of access to the shopping centers, the bars, the clubs, the shops, and all of that. Everything will be in walking distance, but the university will be a little bit further away. If you go to the south, everybody says that it's a little bit unsafe, but it depends on which neighborhood within the south as well. And that's a lot more cheaper than anywhere else in the city. So depending on your budget. So right now I pay about 410 euros. But I was really lucky, and I searched for the house for at least 3 or 4 months. So you got to be really, really proactive about, going out there, putting up your name and messaging people and hoping that someone will reply back to you. So you got to be really proactive about finding the city that you want. And I really would recommend you to research on the neighborhoods in Rotterdam and see what suits best for you.
And Mansi, you have a different experience, I think?
Yes. ISS in The Hague offers student housing for incoming students. So therefore, housing was not much of an issue. However, I would like to warn students that it may happen that the housing capacity is exceeded. So therefore, it may happen that this serve it as a first come first serve basis. So if you're applying late, please make sure that you're in touch with the housing committee or ISS to make sure that you get the housing. Apart from that, you can look for housing on your own, and a few students are also living independently. If you choose to live independently and if you have your own bathroom and a kitchenette, then the Dutch government also gives you a subsidy or a rent allowance, which you can make use of, and that comes in handy as well when you're a student and when you're on a budget.
Yeah, I think that's quite a lot of information and good experiences. Is there anything else?
Could maybe one of you talk about, I don't know if you guys attended the Masters Open Day, or if you have any idea of how it's like, what happens there?
Well, I think I have a little bit of an idea. The thing is, like my faculty, the Erasmus School of History, Culture and Communication, they have their own Instagram page. So they keep updating on all of their activities. So one of the things that happened recently was the Master Open Day. So I didn't actually attend it myself, but I did follow it on their Instagram page. So I think from what I could gather was that they give you presentations about the programs that are being offered. They give you an overview, much like how Sandra just did, about the programs that are there, what you can expect, the kind of courses. You might get to meet a few of the faculty, so you could already get to know what kind of course material you might need. So it's a good way to prepare. If you can come for the Masters Open Day, I would really think that you should, just to get an idea of the campus life and to meet your teachers, professors maybe, and ask the questions, because that is like one of the few opportunities where you will get an answer right back. So it's a really good opportunity.
I think, but in general, it's maybe also nice. I can imagine that people attending this webinar are also interested how you feel, how it is to be in this country. Because I know the Netherlands is a very small country. It's in Europe. It's in the northwestern part of Europe, very centrally. From here, you are in a couple of hours by train. You are in Paris or in Berlin or in London. So we are very centrally located. But we are a tiny country. How is it to be here, to live here?
Also, yeah, someone also wants to know how's it like to be an Indian student? Like, do you have any Indian friends in your faculties and all? Communities, maybe?
You can combine.
Yeah.
So, to answer the question of the Indian experience over here, we have a lot of faculty who are Indian, and there are a lot of Indian students. And Netherlands anyway has a large Indian population as well as Surinamese population. Although the Suriname are not, they don't speak Hindi or would know it would know very little of it, but they still like the exposure. And knowing English is good enough to survive here. Language is never an issue, and the Dutch people in general are also very friendly. So living here has not been a problem.
Yeah, that's the same experience for me as well. Like I find that especially studying in Erasmus University, it's a very international background. So even if you don't, you find people from all over the world just also looking to make friends. So even if you don't find Indians, you will find somebody you can really like. I promise you that, because one of the good things, at least for my master's program, like I think I was the only Indian, but it didn't feel like I didn't stick out because everybody else was international as well. Maybe there were like 3 or 4 Brazilians and then 2 or 3 Dutch people and then 2 Germans. So like it was very international. So, if you don't feel at home here because there are no Indians, I can assure you that you will feel at home with other communities as well, because there's a lot more opportunity. And for me, whenever I get homesick, because I've lived here for 2.5 years, the things that really got me homesick was the food. Really, because the Indian cuisine here is not exactly what you would want it to be most of the time. Like there's a Saravana Bhavan in Amsterdam, but it is also really expensive. Like coming here as a student is just, yeah, you have to be here on a budget. So seriously, like get your recipes together from mom, from your mom and dad, and get those masalas, the MDH masalas and all of that. You really need it.
Yeah, in terms of international experience, I totally agree. Doesn't matter who you find, like I didn't expect to find a lot of. I mean, I did expect actually to find a lot of Indians here, but I didn't. I think there were only out of 550 people in my course, only 9 people were Indian, and finding those 9 people was obviously going to be difficult. But yeah, I became friends with a couple of Indian guys over my first 6 months. But obviously, like the Indian community that I had in Malaysia for like 7 years, like nothing similar to that because yeah, it's just more international. You find 7 people from India, and then you also find 7 people from Mexico, France, Germany. So you will feel at home eventually. You will miss home for the first. At least that was the case for me. Initially, you will miss home a lot, but the environment here is so welcoming. Dutch people in general are very friendly. Like that's one of the highlights that I've experienced so far. The Dutch people are very welcoming. You go out and everybody just like sort of smiles at you. So it's a very warm environment. So you'll always feel at home once you get adjusted. And as for food, yeah, completely like get your spices, get those mithais and all those things. But I guess it also like one experience that I had was that if you find a few Indians, like Indians are kind of difficult to find here because some of them really like do stand out, some of them kind of want to remain quiet. So like a few friends of mine, they formed an Indian society. So if you find an Indian society, go for the events. Like we now the Indian society at Erasmus is becoming bigger. It was only formed last year by some of my friends in economics, and it was 7 of them, and now it's about 30 people.
Really?
And they organize Diwali, they organize holy events. And we recently, like day before yesterday, we went for a cricket tournament about 30 kilometers away. We performed really bad, but it was a great experience.
Where
Playing.
did you play? Was there a cricket field?
Yeah, there was no. It was indoor cricket in Hoofddorp, near Amsterdam.
Okay.
And like I played cricket after 1 year, and it was such a good experience. I went there. There were like 500 Indians there, just like having fun. So it's getting bigger, honestly. Like I see a very bright future for the Indian community here because like having no Indian society and then like suddenly it's getting bigger. So the people who come in, if you come in next year, it's like you're gonna find out that yeah, the Indian society is something here.
Yeah. Sorry.
Do you know how many Indian students we have at the moment
Well,
in the university?
in the university, I don't know. My course, it was 9 people. 2 of them dropped out because they were close friends, and now there's 7.
We have 200.
200.
200 at the
200.
moment.
We don't have
So-
that many, I think.
So but all of for all the
For us.
different-
Yeah,
for-
yeah.
for the
Is
whole
this,
university.
is
Okay.
this including PhD students?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow. Very
So,
nice.
but maybe we should have all these people in the Facebook group.
Yeah,
we should.
Makes it
The thing
easier.
is, there are a couple of Facebook groups like the one that we have from Erasmus University, and there's like this Indians in Rotterdam Facebook group. So if you have anything very specific about very specific things about where to get groceries, which are from India, which you can get by the way, or any restaurant recommendations or any support that you might actually need, they are very helpful. So you can find it on Facebook, these groups, and definitely do join the Erasmus one as well because there are a lot. There are I think about 50, 100, 100 members. Yeah, so you will definitely find support in some way or the other.
To add to what she said, there are also groups that are organized by communities themselves in every city. So there is like a Hague Mitra Mandal. If you're from India, you won't understand what I just said. But there are professionals who have formed communities, and they have events for Ganpati, for Durga Puja, for Diwali. So you can definitely be a part of that community as well.
So you don't have to miss too much.
Yeah.
And anyhow, if you go and study abroad, you do not want to be with only Indians.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
another thing. Like you
Because-
have to be a little bit,
Open to
willing to
new
get out of your shell and
Your own comfort zone.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
The international fight is, of course, a nice one.
Yeah.
Nihal, are there any other questions?
Maybe you can just talk about your budgets for month, like general expenditures, what you spend on, and how much they can expect.
Who's going to start?
I spent I spend about 500 to 530 euros in my rent. After that, I need maybe 150 euros for food expenses. And if you want to cut down on your expenditure, you can go to cheaper supermarkets or find local markets. Albert Heijn, which is quite popular, is quite expensive. You can go to Lidl, that's cheaper. Yeah, but you can choose to cut down on your food expenditures simply by, uh, choosing to buy cheaper materials. Like there is a wide variety of even eggs and bread, and you can choose to buy the cheaper one, or maybe cut down on alcohol.
Like one thing I would definitely recommend is to not convert euros to Indian rupees, because as soon as you do that, you feel like you're spending a lot more than you actually are. But seriously, like your budget for a month should be a maximum of 800 to 900 euros, including your rent. You have insurance also to pay. You also have maybe you have a Netflix account or something, and the groceries also, you will be spending a little bit of money, but the thing is there are a lot of options. Like Dutch people also find it a little bit expensive here, so there are a lot of options for you to shop. Like there are always discounts happening in Albert Heijn, or Lidl is really cheap. There are open markets, like The Hague has the largest open market, right? So you get really fresh vegetables there. Like you get like for €1 you get a kg of apples or something like that. It's really cool. So just know where to spend your money on, and don't convert it and feel bad about spending money, and don't let that stop you from going out and having a good time, because at one point you will feel like, oh my god, there's so much, it's just so expensive, I can't go out and meet my friends, I feel so guilty. But don't do that. Just budget it in a smart way, and you will be able to actually enjoy living here despite how expensive it is.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I have a couple of points that I just thought about. Yeah, my range of rent is the same. It's about 540 a month, and like it's only like 800 to 900 a month should be the aim. But also one thing you really need to be careful about is that do not eat on like I would recommend that you learn at least how to cook a little so you can have a meal or two at home, because it's so much cheaper and healthier. At least that's what I felt, because when I first came here I didn't know how to cook, and eventually my housemates taught me how to cook, so now I'm having like at least a meal or two at home, and I'm saving so much money because I go to campus and I get something as like food court and like generally food chains on campus are a lot more expensive than supermarket ingredients. So I go to the campus and something as small as like two pieces of sandwich will cost me €5, whereas if I make a sandwich at home, I can get the ingredients for €3 to €4. So that's like an entire euro, and then might not seem like much, but if you add it up an entire month, you save €30, which is quite a bit. So that's one thing. Try to maybe learn how to cook basic stuff. And second, I guess it's more of a thing for the younger ones. So like maybe if you come in for bachelors, or like you're entering masters and you're like maybe below 25, about drinks, maybe it's not a good idea to drink in clubs. Like have pre-drinks, like pool some money, get drinks, and then drink with your friends instead of going to a club, because at clubs they charge you like 4 or 5 times as much as you would pay at home. So you just have to be careful about alcohol, really, because that's where I felt that the first 2 months I lost a lot of money. But I realized later that yeah, it's always advisable to like obviously not spend that much, and like outside, obviously that's out of the question. I don't spend on alcohol at all outside.
In talking about all this and money and budget, I think people may also be interested to learn whether you can earn a bit of extra money here. How are your experiences with that?
So there are always chances of making a little extra on the side. If there's a restaurant opening nearby, like there is one in The Hague now, you can apply there to become waitresses. There is Deliveroo, where a lot of students are delivering food on bicycles. You can do that as well. You can do dog sitting if you like pets, and if you happen to be a European national, maybe you can see if there are opportunities in the university where you can apply. Such as we have a blog editing position where a European you need to have a work permit basically. When I meant European national, but if there are chances like that, you can check that out as well.
Mhm.
You can get a part-time job as well. Like now, they've made it a lot more easier now. Like before, it used to be that you couldn't work even part-time. Even if you wanted to work part-time, it was they had to apply, and it would take a long time for it to come in. But now they are you can work for 16 hours a week somewhere, but your employer still has to apply for a work permit, but it takes only like 4 or 5 weeks maximum. So they have really cut down on the bureaucracy and the procedures that they have to go through. So it is doable. You can actually work alongside studying.
Yeah, at Erasmus Rotterdam, many opportunities on campus itself because I'm only in second year and I've done about 5 or 6 different positions already in the last 1.5 years. And like I didn't have much prior work experience. It's just that when you get in within the first 6 months, you're gonna see these opportunities like a tutoring position. So if you say have a GPA above 8.5 in your first 2 trimesters, an independent tutoring company might approach you. They'll ask you to interview for them, and then when you're second year, obviously you have like on campus itself, you have the ambassador position where you're representing the university, presenting about your course, and you can also join the student representation, or you can join the faculty council. Like one of my housemates joined the faculty council, so you basically become a part of the program management and you help them devise the course. Essentially, you try to like change the course content a little bit so that it's more suitable for the people who are coming in after you. And that was university related. And obviously, like they said, you can find something in a restaurant nearby, or you could even well, if you're really into sports, we have sports associations on campus, and then through those I have a couple of friends actually who did get to join teams and they got paid. So if you're really good at football or volleyball or any sport, I mean cricket, it's not that big here unless you independently want to look for something, but through campus I can guarantee you that if you're good at football, you can definitely get into a club and get paid.
Yeah, that's interesting, I think. Nehal, are there more questions that maybe some questions need to be answered by our colleagues from different programs because they can be very specific? Let's see, is there anything you want to change, to share, to add?
Maybe something from your faculty, like how's it like to work for, I mean, RSM, for example, it's probably different than compared to everything else.
Yeah, I think RSM is very different. It was like more than
RSM is
Rotterdam School of Management. I'm sorry. So I'm doing international business administration in Rotterdam School of Management. And for me, more than a cultural shock, it was like a classroom shock because I came here and I thought it was gonna be 40 other people studying with me in one class and like we'll have one teacher, but no, like it's a big lecture room with 500 people. That's how we have lectures. And in India, I think it's very important to attend your classes. And here, for at least the business course that I'm doing, not at all.
So how's your study load as you?
Like study load? Yeah, that's what I was getting. So you don't have to attend classes. Like I personally don't attend many lectures because there are recordings. You can watch recordings online, and workshops you have to attend, but it's only like it's 80% attendance for 10 workshops, so it's quite manageable. As for the workload, I think just the transition from wherever you're coming from to studying at Erasmus is very like it's very challenging because I was personally used to a different format. Here they have an emphasis on multiple choice questions. Here they also have an emphasis on having groups with so you might come in and they might put you in a group with 4 other people that are from different nationalities. So that's a big challenge, just getting to know them, work with them, and essentially making a good assignment. But workload was okay. It's manageable. I think you need to put in a few extra hours because just to get used to the system a little bit, and just me and a few of like my other Indian and Malaysian friends here found that the multiple choice, like the fact that exams are multiple choice, makes it a little more challenging because we're just used to more open questions and essays. So you just need to have a different study approach for that. You need to just really prioritize, like put qualitative and quantitative courses aside and study for like qualitative ones separately. And yeah, that's basically it for like RSM.
Yeah.
For my faculty, especially for the master's program, like You go. I had classes for 3 days a week, but they give you only 3 days a week because there's a lot of course load and a lot of independent studying that you have to do, which is a good thing, I think, especially for a master's. You wouldn't want to start a master's if you didn't want to study the thing that you're going to apply for and you're going to get in for. So there are two formats, like the tutoring thing. So my master's was really small, like the classrooms were really small, so there was a lot of opportunity for one-on-one interaction and talking to the professor and all of that. So that was a really good, positive learning experience for me because I got the opportunity to independently study and just explore the kind of things that I wanted to study, and I had a little bit more freedom in that. So it was a really good, positive learning experience. And the professors are always very, very open to your questions, however stupid you might think it might be, but they're always open to it. So yeah.
Is that very different from what you are used to?
Not exactly. Like for me, during my bachelor's, it was more that there were a lot more students in the classroom. So the way that they would organize their curriculum, or the way that they would organize their teaching methods or whatever, was to accommodate everybody's level of learning.
Mm-hmm.
But for a master, since it's a smaller group and there's more emphasis on independent studying, even if the levels are different, you can still find what you want to study about and study at the level that you want to.
Yeah.
As long as you see the course guide and see what they want, so you can go beyond that as well.
Good. Mansi, how's your experience in your Master of Development Studies?
I have really enjoyed studying here, also because the professors are willing to give you individual feedback on a lot of your assignments, which is something that Indian students don't experience. Like my friends earlier mentioned, we have large classrooms, often of 40, 50 people, but here professors are more open to giving individual feedback or even helping you in structuring your assignment. So they help you walk you through it basically. And the emphasis here more is on critical thinking and less on rote learning. My Indian friends will know what I'm talking about here. So it's a really good learning opportunity, and you're encouraged to think on your own, which I think is a very good feature of ISS and the humanities program that they offer.
Yeah, you can also hear in what you share that there are differences, also in size of the classes and the culture. There can be differences for our different programs, but that is of course a natural thing. Right. I think we have more or less come to an end. If there are no burning questions left, Nehal, anything you yourself want to share?
Maybe, yeah.
Then I give my...
Because if you have any other questions, you can definitely contact the students on Facebook. Join this Indian group. There are a lot of students from different faculties across. So you can send them a message, ask them something specific or anything. And also for Erasmus University and especially Rotterdam School of Management, there's a Facebook app where you can find the specific people who are doing the course. It doesn't matter in masters, bachelors, or anything. And you can just send them a private message if you have any questions or anything. But yeah.
Okay. Then let me thank you. Thanks a lot for attending and be with us today. I wish you a very good evening. And you know what we are going to do? We are going to have an Indian meal here. I don't know, is Krishna Vilas...
I've never tried it.
You never tried it? Is it common? Do you know if you heard
I've
of
been
it?
there, yeah.
You've been there. We are going to Krishna Vilas because
There's South Indian food, there's dosa.
it's South Indian, vegetarian, and there is a Saravana. You already mentioned it. It's going to open tomorrow and not today.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we go to Krishna Vilas, so only 10-minute walk from here. So what more do we want?
Yeah.
Thanks very much, and share any further question with us. And if you want to see this again, or in case you have missed part of it, we will share the recording with you, and we will also post it in our Facebook group, so you can watch later. And don't hesitate to ask any questions. Also, as Nihal said, if you post your question, most of the times the student is answering them or someone from the university. Thanks a lot, and we hope to see you in the future. Bye-bye. Bye.